Sydney Discotheque, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo.
Oye, oye, oye. Right, this is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday evening here in London. If you've just tuned in, as they say, you haven't missed anything at all because the show has just started. It is now 20:07, that is 2007. I'm not talking about a year, I'm talking about a time. So 7 minutes gone past 8, and I'm happy to say this time, unlike some few months ago or some few weeks ago, you say a different time in UK, another different time in Ghana. But today, I'm very happy to say that it's the same time in Accra as it is here in the UK, in London. Welcome to the show, another beautiful Wednesday evening, like I've already said. Anyway, so tonight, it's all about the Ghana politics, all about the budget. The budget that is nicknamed the Nkunim. Nkunim is for victory, isn't it? Yes, victory. So it's all about victory for Nanado and his people. Hey, it's that victory where there's a NPP for Enya. Maybe sure say chrono. You see, I started using this phrase, the final showdown, long before Kennedy Japan came to make it popular. I think the final showdown will happen in Ghana because there's no way NPP before Bejade, you don't know. Hey, because this time around, even the way I see it, maybe there will even be witch hunting. Maybe any genuine, benchrophobia or demkeke, which is so unfortunate, but that is what's going to happen, So we'll talk about the budget, looking at it. In fact, I might go through Kakra, but we need to sit down and analyze with experts. And so, what would team, open budget, the way you see it at a glance, I'll be happy to hear from you. Then later on, I'll be speaking to a gentleman who represents Alan Tremantin. Alan Tremantin, Sabobe Kaya and Chebiana Eja. Also attending quarterly party from the MPP. On Pensi. Some people too said he has a soft skin. He should have stayed in there. He should have stayed and compete with everybody. So tonight, Mr. Alan Tramantin's representative, in fact, he is the acting director of communication for the Movement for Change group, Afafran Tourism. We'll talk about how and what they really want or how they move forward. Anyway. Before then, this small problem of employment in Ghana, small Ramika, is in inverted commas. Small problem of employment in Ghana. Mobe Kaya, on say Ghana no, and tisa brichreha. Employment is so much, that it is all about merit. So even if you are disabled or not, you can, have a very gainful employment. Can be employed to do so many things. We have disabled soldiers here in the UK because they are very smart, very clever with the computers. They are smart behind the joystick. So they are all soldiers, but they are sitting in the office and looking at the screens. You see what I mean? So I came to pass that some disabled persons or people in Ghana who used to work at the toll booths, manning the toll booths and collecting monies for the government. How much small the money was, it was still money, and it was creating employment. You see, so even in some countries, if the employment doesn't make even profit, but it employs a session group, especially a vulnerable group in the society, then we take it like that. But no. Kame Kufuado and his people, the roads minister, Amwakwata, yes, his name. Kasakura sebio. Na IBO. And ye bro from Kwatri, Kasa, anyway. But we are no yaring to me find a room for another. But the point is to just cancel somebody's what do we call it? A means of survival, means of living. Somebody's employment status, just use the radio to tell them they are no more, just like that. ABC ne. Enti enyumremi ohwana obi sending me abrantie munim de abolo o sending me say azamusa on crop we say we interview adafo ba ko oka disabled for ehu na omakoye unauthorized gathering, Ministry of Roads and Highways, Emma. They've been arrested. Well, according to the story, and they were arrested for a long while. Which to me is rather unfortunate. It's unpleasant. It's just uncalled for. It's wickedness, nothing else. Because even if it wasn't planned, it wasn't authorized, these guys holding walking sticks, not people, they are not people who go and be throwing stones and bottles and be fighting fisticuffs with the police or anything. No. Yet, the police for no, I arrest them, go van bimu. For a long time, they have been released. Whether charged or not charged, I don't know. But I've got a representative for our Accra. Actually say, obey to me, any ebedi and komo. I should have 2 representatives. Let's see. Who is who here? 2 representatives, Misaka 1. Now, be sure, say, Misabeka, the other fellow also. The other fellow in the D. Frederick Asso. But this time, no, Mr. Duncan, good evening. Oh.
Good evening, Mansamusa.
Have you ever called here?
Nyamiadom, yeah. That's a tear in comedy.
Duncan, we are Fantini and we in Cranny.
Bibacho, me Fantini, but a bravo empty, a crana.
Because of the way I will come. Yes, because the way I will see car, Jamia Dome, a while no said me Martino Super, and I mean in Fanticas and so. And the way you said it, me say, wow, could be even to just say, what cram, I just say, Fantina and Cranfanti, well, that way, you were Ami Muruna, one guy, Visoji, or no lies with the near Fizzy in Anna. Yet to me, your endurance and all breasts are yet to me, Esrin is sometimes I should declare when you do now. I come back, when you say, I want to nip pennies and obey. No, I died then, Chem. I for you know, then it then Chem off and I done it bore. Seriously, I don't have to. Oh, says you know, when you are in your 20s, you don't give a damn about anything in the world. Okay, can say, but yeah, and so
it's a sad day, but you managed to make me laugh, Kaka.
I've got to. You see, that is part of the job we do if you are going to actually can I say relate to the realities of everything. Personally, you are going to be in trouble because and someone yet from Afghanistan to the Kosovo, cocaine, Jerusalem, and some Musa community for free, but when they and Tina do be now the BIS right, Duncan. The reason I called you, you know already. Apparently, some of your members were arrested today. What happened? Tell us.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity once again. Like you rightly put it, yes, some of our members went to the Ministry of Roads and Highways, and unfortunately, they got arrested. The reason why they went there, even if not authorized or they didn't go through the right channels, it was out of bottled up anger and frustration and disappointment, because this administration or this government is taking us for a ride or has taken us for a ride, in relation to what they promised us as toll booth workers, because we were working at these toll booths, we're manning the toll booths, contributing our quota to the development of the country by collecting revenue for the state to do developmental projects in the country, especially like road toll. Money that we collect from road toll is supposed to be used for road maintenance. So that is our portion. That is our role that we play. We collect the money that the government should use to maintain roads. But unfortunately, That is not the case with us here in Ghana, because all the money that we collect, the toll money that we collect, it is just ironic that even in and around where the toll plazas are, there are huge potholes. The road is in a bad state, just as just around the toll plaza where we collect the money. It's just ironic that sometimes you have to navigate your way around potholes, some few meters, and then you go and pay toll. And people wonder what the money is used for. We that used to work at the toll plaza also wonder what the government uses the money for. Because firstly, but the money is meant to be used to maintain roads. But anyway, like we have spoken on this issue before, we pointed out that on the 17th of November 2021, the government, after reading the budget, Ministry of Roads and Highways released a circular and then ordering us to cease operations that midnight. And so we did, but they also promised us that they're going to look for alternate livelihood for us. And then even in the interim, before that alternate livelihood, which is another means of survival, they are going to give us a monthly allowance to survive on until they actually fix as a job. So even though, you know, the closure of the toll, we were not really, we didn't really understand why they did that, but because they promised that they're going to finance alternate livelihood, we sort of took it with a pinch of salt. But 2 years down the line, and none of the promises that the government
Duncan, my producer asked me to ask you, were you able to share the link, either the radio or the Zoom? Because others are listening from everywhere, but when it is concerning your members, my producer is always right. Have you shared or you haven't? Just be honest with me, please. If you haven't, I will give you time to share it.
No, I'm sorry, I haven't.
Okay, but you have the radio.
Let me quickly do that.
You have the radio. I've sent you the radio, the Facebook, and the Zoom. Can you share the three of them? If you don't have any of them, let me know.
I'm going to. I have all the information you send me on WhatsApp. I have them. I will send it to our platforms. Right
okay, now. Send it, and let's say I'll call you back. 5 minutes?
Okay, that's fine.
Or you were going to send whilst you were speaking?
Yes, I could. I think I could do that.
Which one is convenient? I just want you to do the right thing conveniently. I mean, there's no rush and there's no, if you think I should give you time, then we come back to continue. Fine. If you can continue, what do we call it, double charge, as they say, the women will tell you that they always do a multitasking. Men can't do multitasking. So if you want to go in multitasking, then carry on and talk whilst you share.
I think I can do it because I just wanted, the speaker is loud enough. Like I told you, there's power cut here, so the whole place is a bit quiet. So
okay, go ahead again. So let's talk whilst you share it to your members. Yeah.
Yes, whilst we're talking, I'm working on it.
When you were talking, if you heard a phone ring, it was one of your colleagues, Mr. Frederick Asso. Have you heard the name before?
Okay.
He said he couldn't, get the Zoom working, which is strange, really. But I've already sent it to him. To try again. So so let's go. Continue with your message.
Okay. So I just shared it.
Okay. So
like I was saying,
go ahead, please.
So like I was saying, and then a promise was made to us. A promise that they're going to find alternate livelihood for us. They're going to look for other jobs for us. But in the interim, before they take us to those jobs, they're going to pay us a monthly allowance so that you can sustain us until such time that we are sent to our new jobs. So, I mean, everybody would think that, your government's word you can take it to the bank because I mean your government has all the resources at its disposal. It has all the government machineries behind it. So whatever the government says, the government will follow through with those promises. I mean, that is the hope that we had. But it didn't turn out that way with this government. So we sent a second petition to Parliament, reminding them of the promises that they made to us, and then also telling them that they should rethink their decision of closing the tolls, because it seems to us that it has taken too long for them to find this alternate livelihood. So it means they simply do not have anywhere to take us, because if they did, we wouldn't be having graduates coming out from the universities and forming unemployment graduate association and all that. So we sought to make them understand that no, the few jobs that are available, you need to protect them. So if you're not, if it's not within your power, or you cannot find any other job for us, the toll structures are already there. All you need to do is just get cleaners to clean the place up, and then we can go back to work, because as at the time we're telling the government that all the machineries and everything was intact, but now, people have stolen everything. Cars have broken down some of the structures, and all this at the expense of the taxpayer, which is a shame. So, yeah, this is the promises. We look forward for the promises. The promises never came. We've taken steps. We've gone to the Ministry of Roads and Highways to see the Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways. On some occasions, we got the opportunity to talk to him. He kept promising us. He kept telling us that we should be patient. We've been to see some chief directors and some CEOs. All they tell us is we should be patient, that the government is going to follow through with its promise and all that. But, as they kept promising and promising, and we kept pushing and pushing, it got to a point, I think they got tired of lying to us. So when you get there, they avoid you. They don't want to see you. The secretaries will put up some uninviting face and attitude towards you. Sometimes they will tell you the minister is not in, even though you will be sitting in the reception and people will be coming and going to the office of the minister and come out. Sometimes you go there, they tell you minister is busy, go and come back. So it's been like that for the whole of this year and the latter part of last year. That is what we've gone through. So I mean, I do understand our colleagues who went to picket at the Ministry of Roads and Highways, because if it seems to us that this government, this current administration, does not want things to be done diplomatically or on the low or on the quiet, they don't hear or they don't listen to for want of a better word, they don't listen to reason. They want you to push them to the wall. They want you to mass up. They want you to take the law into your hands. They want you to do things outside the law before they listen to you, as they have demonstrated time and time again. Because when you take the step to go to the office and speak to any of them, they don't want to. But if you organize demonstrations, then they come out to talk to you. So I'm not surprised that...
Duncan, the whole thing is that since the time you guys, your people were laid off, the toll booths were closed and the rest, there haven't been any proper gainful employment for almost everybody, let's say.
At all.
And
at all.
Every attempt or move you've made to redress this impasse or this, difficulty has fallen on favorite, what do we call it, on favorite, or you can't say the government doesn't want to know about you guys, your plight. And so the people decided to go on strike or demonstration to go and picket without police authorization, was it?
Yes. And that's what you get. Like I was drawing out, that's what you get from a government whose posture is that unless you demonstrate or unless you embark on mass action, I will not listen to you. I will not even give you audience. That's what you get. That's what you get from so many years of disappointments. That's what you get. There's too much pent-up disappointment and anger in us. And so I'm not surprised that some of our colleagues felt that the only way to express their anger or the only way to get the government to listen is to not to follow due process and to go and picket at the ministry. You cannot fault them because, I mean, they are fighting for their rights. I mean, we are all fighting for our rights. Sometimes the frustration is too much that you don't care. You just want to do what will bring the attention that you need and the results that you need. And this is the case of what happened today with some of our colleagues, even though it's not the entirety of the group as in tow workers of Ghana, but it's understandable. You can understand the frustration that they probably were going through. I mean, we are all going through it, but, you know,
look, Master Musa, as I sit here, my kid brother is a disabled person. He worked all his life, you know, he's now a grown person. He's worked all his life, you know, and he doesn't need, you know, any sort of handouts or any favors. But having grown with disability, it is very difficult. And, you know, I know what it is, how it is. And so for a whole government to disappoint, mismanage a whole section of society like this, it's a bit strange. So let's come down to today. Yes. So when those guys were arrested, they were arrested, and I learned they have been bailed or released. Were they charged or they just released without charge?
From what I gathered, they were not charged. I think, yes, they were just spoken to and they were let go. I think they were told not to embark on that. And I think there was another worry about how the media got to be there and all. It's like, you know, all these things, you don't want the media to know. Why don't you want the media to know? What are you hiding? What are you hiding that you don't want the media to get involved? Because the media is the fourth arm of government, as I understand it. So, yes, everything that pertains to the running of a country, the media is part of it. So if you have nothing to hide, why are you worried about the media coming to cover an incident that is going on or a story that is unfolding? So that goes to tell us that the government is just hiding. And they shouldn't be doing that because the country is for all of us. The country is for all of us. It just so happens that you are privileged to be in the helm of affairs where all the resources are at your disposal for you to manage. You're just managing it for the country and for us, the citizens. So it shouldn't be that you get your monthly salary every month, you get your per diem, you get your sitting allowance, you get your committee, whatever allowances that you get, boards that you are on, all the salaries and the benefits that come with it. And then the ordinary citizen should suffer for work that he has done, for work that he was doing that through no fault of his or her.
Because of time factor, my producer has given me another 5 minutes, which is fine. Let me ask you, you are saying, you know, all these problems that your members are facing. And from what I gather, not much is in the budget to address your issues. Am I reading it right? Or is there anywhere, any clause, anywhere in the budget that says that those disabled people who lost their jobs and those who are not working, is there anything in the budget for you lot?
There was nothing in the budget that specifically addressed our issue or even suggested to kind of like address our issue. Nothing of that sort. So it's a shame. But, you know, again, for me, I don't know about everybody, for me, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because this has been the push of the government ever since. if it feels like we don't exist in their plans, we are, we used to work there. Now we are not working there no more. We have disappeared from the face of the earth. We are not part of Ghana again. So nothing about us concerns the government. And so I'm not surprised that nothing was said about it, because even in a time when e-levy did not pass or e-levy did not go through as we were expecting, we expected and were the collection of toll. And then also when the government decided to go to IMF, we felt that, okay, IMF, as we know it, encourages internal generation of revenue. So, okay, if this avenue is already there, then, logically, the government will go, open tolls and get us back to work, seeing that they have not been able to reassign us. So we had high hopes, but all these two peak points that we expected the government to do the right thing, they disappointed. So for this budget, honestly, I didn't know what would push them to want to go and open tolls and employ us back again. I don't know what will push them. So I'm not too surprised. Just that I'm disappointed, but I'm not too surprised.
Well, it is really not nice for someone, a member of society, to say that he or she isn't surprised that they've been neglected or not been added into the stuff or the substance of anything. It is really, really not nice. But for what it's worth, let's leave it here. We'll find time again if we have to do a Zoom, a proper Zoom with you guys alone for maybe an hour. We discuss everything. Then I'll invite some, big people in society to join us to discuss this issue. I'm very passionate about it. So, Mr. Duncan, I'll leave you to go and rest, and hopefully maybe somewhere along the line something better might come about. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having us as well. May God bless you.
Sydney Discotech, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo.
Oye, oye.
Right, Osi Bisa, Osi Ojahi, Oja. Hello, Frederick, welcome. Frederick, can you hear me? Hello, Frederick. Can you? Okay, Frederick is gone. Right, so I'm waiting for the representative for Mr. Alan Chermantin to join. He joined earlier on and thought the conversation with the disabled persons issue will go on for a while. So he asked the permission and left. So I've just asked him to come back, and very soon he will join, and we'll start with a conversation, the pure politics. Anuma koliwa, 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 anuma koliwa.
spirit. Oja is calling. Oja,
Anema Koliwa. A bit of the usual technical issues. We are still waiting for our crowd system to work out so that those people I'm waiting for can join so we can start with the conversation. So please, if you are hanging in there, those of you on Facebook, kindly share. If you share, then everyone will be very happy indeed. Mr. Frederick Aso, you are here. And Mr. Nobby, you are also here. Good evening, Nobby. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Brilliant. Mr. Frederick Aso, just hang in there and wait a while whilst I discuss issues with our Mr. Courage Nobby. Then later, we can have time so that we discuss the disabled issues. Mr. Nobby, well, thank you very much for your time. Can you tell my listeners and watchers and everybody, before we start, my producer like this thing. Have you been able to share the links and everything to your members?
Yes, I've shared on the various platforms and
brilliant.
I expect that they'll be able to join us. But thank you so much for having us.
Right. As they say in Kakra, let your voice flow. I've opened all the volume, but yours is a bit down. But tell us something. Who exactly are you and which area in politics where you belonged and maybe either moved or where you are? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Master Musa, and good evening to your viewers and listeners across the globe. My name is Courage Nobby, like you rightly mentioned. A young politician. Until recently, I was a member of the NPP and its national communication team. And after the strategic decision by the Honorable Alain Martin to withdraw from the race and to announce the formation of a movement, I joined him and presently do act as his Director of Communications.
I see. So obviously you were with Mr. Alain Chamanti as an MPP member, a card-bearing member, the communications member, right?
Oh yes, I was in his campaign, particularly the youth aspect, but I was a card-bearing member of the New Patriotic Party at the time and a member of its national communications team. So until August this year, I used to communicate for the ruling party.
Please, if you join the Zoom, make sure your face can be seen. Get a light shining on your face instead of behind you. And also turn off your microphone if you are not speaking. Because very soon I will get it on the site. It will be live on Facebook. So your face got to be seen so that it looks nice. If your face is more beautiful than mine, that's better. If you are too ugly, that would be dangerous. Anyway, that's a joke. So kindly show your faces and we'll be on Facebook and YouTube. Anyway, you are listening. If you have just joined, I'm now having a live discussion with a representative of Mr. Alain Chamanting. Those of you who follow Ghana politics, I think you know what it's all about, what is happening. Mr. Alain Chamanting has decided to go it alone. He's taking a branch. Please lower your microphones, except Mr. Nobby, please. Please do lower your microphones. Isaac and Frederick, Lower your microphones, please. Okay, it looks as if I have to take things into my own hand and lower your microphones for you. Okay. And, all right. Very good. So there we go. So if you are listening to me, Mr. Alan Chamantin has left the elephant group and he has formed his own Afaflantor, that is the butterfly. Obviously, when you're a kid and you're chasing butterfly like a dog chasing a butterfly, it's all nice and good. But butterfly and their skin is a bit poison. I don't know. I don't think it's a bit pleasant. And they are feeble. I don't know why he chose butterfly. Butterfly is so feeble, so so not very strong. I don't know who advised him. Maybe Mr. Novi did the advising. But Novi, still, let's talk about yourself a bit. So, how long have you been with the NPP?
Thank you very much. I've been with the NPP since my youthful days. I remember campaigning for former President Kufuor. In the early 2000s. I couldn't vote then because I hadn't attained the age of adulthood. But subsequently, I started voting and I voted for the party. I was a student leader in my days, ending as a national secretary of the National Union of Ghana Students. And subsequently, immediately after, started my career as a teacher and also doing some activism for the party until I later joined its ranks and formally became a part of the national communications team just to advance the cause of the party and to make sure that we could spread or communicate the ideals and most importantly its achievements to the general public and the globe. But it had become quite evident going into the recent elections that the party had veered seriously off from the ideals that formed it. The ideals of choice, freedom of thought, choice and action had been trampled upon. It looked as though the party had become a sycophantic movement. You have to be a sycophant or you will not find a proper footing and expression within the system. So some of us were looking for the leader who had the right character to be able to restore the party to its ideals. Growing up, it was a statement of pride to be identified with a new patriotic party because of the ideals that they espoused, what they represented. We used to joke that if you were watching this Sunday program, Talking Point, and you joined midway through the program, you are rest assured that the one who is making logical sense is the NPP member or panelist on the show. But particularly after the 2012 elections, we saw the party take on a new character that began to look more like the thuggish character of the NDC, and leading to the formation of invisible forces, Delta Force, and all of that, which we felt were not proper. But if you're part of a group, you can only advocate within. So for us as young people, we're looking for the leader whose character did not endorse those conducts, those things, those foreign things that found expression in the party, whom we could trust to restore the party to its original ideals, which attracted some of us as young people to join it. And we found that rightly in the Honorable Alan John Kwadio Martin, for which reason we put all our support behind him and we're working very hard for him to become the leader of the party so that we could get our party back to what it was supposed to be.
Oh, please, Frederick, Mr. Aso, lower your microphone. Please lower your microphone.
Yes, I am online now.
But lower the microphone, please.
Hello?
Turn off the microphone, please.
I should turn off my microphone, right?
Yes, because we are having discussion already. I'll come to you. Just turn off the microphone and keep listening. When I mention you, then you can come in, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Right. So, Mr. Nobi,
I'm trying to do that.
Mr. Nobi, the point is, let me put this across. It is, some people find it very hard to understand how a person can leave the almighty NPP in search of a better outlook or something much better, and still think, okay, the chances of being in power is also there. Someone will say, you guys are just shooting yourself in the foot. How do you explain? I mean, how do you answer to this?
Thank you very much. So the forces that had come to control the party, particularly the system that the sitting president had instituted, had gone to the extent where it had become very cavalier, and they were not ready or prepared to go by even the laid down basic rule of law that we all know for party governance. They were not willing to ensure fairness. They are not willing to ensure open competition, and they are not willing to, let the exercise go to its logical end for an outcome. They were working to ensure a certain predetermined outcome, mortgaging the choice and freedom of the members of the party, mortgaging the ideals for which the party was formed in the first place, but determined to keep control of the party. This politics that we do is ultimately about the nation. It's about how we are able to position the nation for transformation, for growth, and for sustainable development. So our ultimate loyalty and commitment is to the state. Now, you have an opportunity to express that loyalty through two avenues, either through the political party system
NFM
or
Radio.
as an individual. And when it became obvious that the people who had exercised control and hold over the party were not willing to allow the democracy, internal democracy, to prevail, then one had to go on the revolutionary path, in order to be able to restore what needs to be. And this is not the first time. In our body politics, in the history of Ghana's politics, remember the UGCC in 1947, Nkrumah joined its ranks as its general secretary, and after 2 years, he left to form the CPP, which ultimately won us independence. So at every point in time, the conviction of the individual is most prime. And under the circumstance, John Abual and Jokwajo Tremate and we, his teaming supporters, had no option than to take this route. And we have absolutely no doubt at all that we are going to have victory come 2024, because everything points to the fact that the system is ripe. Everything points to the fact that the way the NPP and the NDC have become like Siamese twins. They become so identical that there's hardly anything that separates them, whether ideology or actions or output or anything. Then it became important that we choose a path that gives Ghanaians real choice at the polls in 2024. So this is ultimately about giving Ghanaians a potent alternative to the status quo of the duopoly, the NPP and the NDC, because what kept on happening is that they thought we had all been pigeonholed into choosing between the two of them. So the real wishes of voters didn't matter. At the end of the day, I just have to loot enough. I go into position. After 8 years, Ghanaians will be dissatisfied with the underperformance of the party that they voted for, and then I get to come back again. But we are saying that for the first time in 2024, there should be a very potent alternative to these two parties so that this established duopoly can be kicked out.
So if that is the, what do we call it? That is your plans. I mean, not your personal, but the group your aim, your objective, one will think that the best way is to organize yourself, join up with some like-minded other political groups. Is there anything of that in the offing, in the pipeline going forward?
Absolutely. So the movement for change has four major objectives or thematic areas. The first one is to challenge and change the duopoly. When that is successfully done, we hope to form a government of national unity. You would agree with me that even presently there is obvious quality in the NPP that is not being engaged because they are not certain people's men. There is obvious quality in the NDC that does not get to participate in development simply because they are in the opposition. There's obvious quality of personnel outside of the political establishment, in the clergy, in civil society, in the diaspora, different groups of people, all of whom do not get to be part of the development agenda simply because of the system that we are perpetuating. So the second objective is to form a government of national unity. And when that has been done, the Honorable Alanche Martin has proposed what we call the Great Transformational Plan, a 15-point plan. We build consensus around a national development plan. And once you have a consensus around the national development plan, that would ensure some continuity and focus for our nation's development. Then last but not least, to champion discipline and attitudinal change, which is a prerequisite for a functional society. To do this, you had the option of forming a political party or a political organization. What we chose is a political organization that is the movement for change. And rightly, as you
NFM
said,
Radio.
there are other political organizations that are there, and we are engaging. For example, yesterday, we had an engagement with some CSOs, the National Interest Movement, which is a collection of civil society organizations. Present were the Fix the Country Group, Democracy Hub, all of them that we are engaging to make sure that we are able to forge that synergy, towards making sure that our common objective of changing the duopoly and having a government that reflects truly the will of the people is achieved and gets to come to power in 2025.
Let's get into the actual, dynamics, how everything erupted, how we've come to this stage. At what point, well, we all know the point where perhaps Mr. Alanche Martin, decided that he's had enough. He started seeing the signs. But others will say, instead of being outside the tent and trying to maybe throw stones into the tent, why don't you stay in the tent and try to restructure? In other hand, you guys could have still stayed in the MPP and fight your way through from within. And people will see you guys as simply traitors.
I think if there's any group of people who qualify for the description of being traitors, it is the very people who have betrayed the very ideals that form the New Patriotic Party. Ideals are what makes a man or what makes an institution. So when those ideals have been thrown to the dogs and convenience and hypocrisy and sycophancy is the order of the day, that is betrayal. And that is what the establishment represents. For us, the commitment to the ideals is prime, and that is what we continue to pursue. And like I said before, ultimately, every single thing that we do politically is about the state Ghana. So as a matter of priority, the country or the nation comes first before the vehicle, i.e. the political party. At any point in time when the political party does not reflect the wishes and aspirations of the nation, the political party has actually betrayed the reason for its establishment in the first place. And to that extent, nobody should be bound to it. Nobody should be pigeonholed into belonging to a system that is dysfunctional, a system that has betrayed, the very essence of participation in the civil space. And that is why this bold move. That thinking that people have no choice, people have no option. It's like a bully. A bully hello? A bully succeeds to the extent that nobody stands up to him. And once somebody gathers the cojones to stand about what that is the significant thing about what the Honorable Elijah Kojoche Martin has done. Nobody thought it was possible. And because of that, you had a party that was very, 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 very terribly run. A party that had no respect for rules. And you cannot have that. When a party becomes like a jungle, then it's a problem. How can you
is that the description you are attaching to the situation within the NPP, that it's now almost people are behaving like the rule of the jungle? There is no proper democratic sort of activities. People are not following the rules and everyone is doing whatever they like. Is that what you want Ghanaians to believe?
I think that is what Ghanaians have seen. That is what Ghanaians have witnessed. Because when you have a party going into elections and rules are laid down and the rules are not followed, and there is no consequence for not applying the rules or for not going by the rules, clearly that cannot be said to be democratic. Democracy must have some predictable procedures, some guarantees for one to participate in it. You don't see that in there. I mean, is it not surprising that in the 2023, going into an election, one will be required to sign an undertaking to lock himself to a certain outcome? So there's a lot more.
Are you referring to the undertaking just before the final elections as to, the rest of the candidates to sign a memorandum obeying the rules of staying with the NPP at all costs? Some would say it is a very smart political move. You describe it as what?
Well, I do not think that anything that curtails the rights of an individual can be deemed smart. It is only a dictatorial group, a group of maybe fascists, if you may, who would want to control people and their choices and curtail their choices, who will do that. But what I'm excited about is that for the first time going to the polls in 2024, we are going to have a very potent option. Thousands of young men have put themselves up to, and when I say young men, I mean both young men and young ladies, willing and able and working hard for change. Because we want our country better run. We want to have a functional society. We want to have a government that prioritizes the people, that creates jobs for people to live decent lives. And that is what we aspire. The level of nonchalant attitude that we witness in leadership does not represent our ideals and aspirations as young people. And the lack of integrity in public service is very, very, very unbecoming. And that is why for Honorable Elijah Kojoche Martin, his consistency in character, in credibility, and in competence, his proven track record as a performer, that is what excites us about him. And so wherever he goes, we follow. And we are ready to do all the work to ensure that he emerges victorious, so that Ghana, like we say in Akan, can rise again.
So we say in Akan, Ghana can rise again. I don't know if that is Akan language, but I think we all do understand. You are listening to Mansa Musa this evening with a knowledgeable young gentleman in Accra. He happens to be the acting director of communications for the Alain Tremantin Group. They call themselves Movement for Change, and they have their butterfly sort of mascot. I don't know whether it's still flying or it's just sticking there. But we shall see. Let me ask you, so far, well, you have people within the NPP who say, they don't care about you guys. And there are some who will think, these guys, we need them. We need every support we can get. The battle is going to be very hard. Let me ask you, what will make you guys return to the fold? What do you want to see? Maybe if there are some people, the top hierarchy come and convince you guys that, look, this and this and this and this have changed. Or this and this and this sort of, what do we call it, titles and appointments and opportunities will be laid before you. So please, like my friend would say, come and join the fold. What will make you and your boss, Alan Chamartin, return to the Osono family?
Well, we are told that you never say never, but in this particular case, or on this concerning this particular matter, we say never. The leopard cannot change its spot, and from what we've seen and from what we've witnessed, what we've experienced, we have flown. The butterfly has flown. I will say we're too far. There's no turning back. There's no looking back. We are focused towards delivering the change that we need, that will change the face of Ghanaian politics, that will make it development focused, and that is what we are working towards. We wish the NPP well for them, but many more in the NPP agree, believe, and are joining us in our ranks. Many thousands who were in the NPP are joining us. There are even more, who are saying that, well, they will continue to sit on the elephant, but on December 7th, they will fly with a butterfly. So we are very confident in what we are doing. If you know the Honorable John Kojo Martin, he's a very strategic thinker. He's a very decisive decision maker. And he's a very convincing man when he makes his move. And he's not one who flip-flops. And neither is that the situation for any of us who have volunteered our energies to work to ensure that he becomes the leader that we want. So there's no turning back concerning this. It's not about personal gain or promises or anything. It's about making sure that we have a working Ghana that is able to meet the needs and aspirations of the people. John Abuala John Kojo Martin has, had an illustrious life and career for himself. Left to him alone, he probably would find some retirement apartment somewhere, retirement home somewhere with his grandchildren. But there is a lot more that he can offer to the larger society as a transformative leader. And that is why the choice of the butterfly, which symbolizes transformation, which is our ultimate aim, that will see to the transformation of the Republic of Ghana. So that even people like the great Mansa Musa and his colleagues would find it even better to relocate and come back home, and have some the Ghanaian life rather than continue to be abroad. Or at the minimum, will be confident to come in here, put their money here, invest heavily here, because they know that the governance architecture that is in place can ensure the constant growth of their investment as Ghanaians in the diaspora. That is what this is about. And so to that extent, at this point, it is extremely belated to think that there can be any return to the NPP.
You have just said if I knew him personally or, well, I don't know him in close quarters. You do. Tell us a bit about Alan Chamartin.
Thank you very much. John Abuala John Kojo Chamartin, for the over 30 years that he's been involved in public service and private service. But before then, he had such brilliance that at age 9, he got admitted to Adisada College as a Form 1 student, having passed the common entrance exam. So he went to the boarding house at age 9.
Come on, he was just bluffing. Maybe his dad is a chief or king or a money man who just pushed him.
None of the above. You know, he had his he had his elder brothers, his two elder brothers. But I mean, it was observed that he was a brilliant chap right from the early days. So they were going to write the common entrance. He insisted that he could take the common entrance with them. So upon his insistence, he was allowed to take it, and he passed. And he passed well enough to go to the Adisada College, after which he went to Achimota School for his sixth form. You know, by age 22, he became the youngest manager in the Unilever Group. You know, so that is what he represents. In the early 90s, you find him championing Empretech, which is responsible for enterprises like Casapreco, enterprises like Tropical Cable, and a lot more illustrious Ghanaian companies. You know, it is because of what he did, the work he did at Empretech, supporting small and medium-scale enterprises to thrive, you know, to become multinationals like we are seeing today. In fact, if you take every 10 companies or local companies in Ghana, about 7 out of every 10 has had the Midas touch of the Honorable Antony Martin at one point in their life. But it did not stop there. It was around the same time in the 90s that he wrote a blueprint for intra-continental trade for Africa, a blueprint. Incidentally, much earlier, he would find himself working as a lead at the AU to set up now after the African Continental Free Trade. And once he became minister, was able to successfully lobby for the headquarters to be put in Ghana, such that now young entrepreneurs can export and trade freely within the continent of Africa. Politically...
So, go ahead.
Politically, in the early 90s, when it became obvious that we were going to go into democracy, the Dankwa Buzia Club was established, a wing of which was the Young Executives Forum, which he became the chairman of. That Young Executive Forum was the key financing vehicle for the Dankwa Buzia Club and ultimately the New Patriotic Party in 1992. So they sponsored the Dubois, they sponsored former President Kufuor, you know, and even in 1996, and this is recorded in the great Akentenapia Menken's book. In 96, the Young Executive Forum said that, you know what, you are our leader. We have confidence in you, so we want to support you to go for the presidency. He says, no, let me let my big brother, John Ejekun Kufuor, go, and let's continue to support him, you know. And they supported him. After President Kufuor won, he was made the head of the kitchen cabinet, the committee that recommended ministers for the President Kufuor administration. And the performance of that administration is there for all to see. He first became ambassador to the United States, and in 2003 was brought back to become Minister for Trade and Industry and President's Special Initiative. Under President's Special Initiative, he said we could industrialize on 4 major raw materials: salt, cotton, cassava, and palm. So the PSI really went about developing these 4 strategic raw materials industries around them. Unfortunately, he could not get the nod to lead the party in 2007, and so 2008 we went into opposition. Some of us are still confident that if he were the candidate in 2008, we would have won that election. You know, he continued in his work at the continental level and at the World Trade Organization until getting to the election. He again contributed the idea of the one district, one factory to the manifesto. And then as minister, he has overseen the implementation that has seen some 294 projects initiated, 126 of which are complete, which has created some 160,000 jobs, 24,000 of which are direct jobs. So this is what it's about. This is what he's always been about, creating the enabling environment for businesses to thrive, creating jobs to make sure that people are able to live a decent life, earn an income to take care of themselves and their family. And this is what we want him to mainstream as president when, by God's grace, December 2024, he emerges as victorious in that election. He's a very strategic thinker. He's a convincing talker, and most importantly, he is a doer whose actions and character is undergirded by unblemished integrity. The reason for which any electorate out there can trust him to do what he says he will do.
Well, it all sounds very nice and beautiful, on paper, theoretically, but in practice, not much can be, attributed to him as being successful or a success. Being that he himself came out, there isn't much that has been done in this administration that is attributable to him. I can say, that is a plus. After all, he himself came out to say, we don't have a message. What do you say to that?
I think if you look at him, what he's achieved both in his private life and public life, it is actually a lot to talk about. One factory aside, as we speak now, there are about 37 business resource centers dotted across the country to support small and medium-scale enterprises to scale up and to become the big companies with technical support and financing and all. But, there's always a certain level of restriction that is placed on one who is a minister, because our constitution invests so much power in the presidency. It's an executive presidency. So no matter how visionary you may be as a minister, you work for and at the behest of the president. So your vision does not get full expression, and that is why we believe that on the back of his track record, what he has successfully done within the constraints of ministerial appointment, a ministry that obviously, if you check the budget year on year, was not a priority for the government, he can really bring about the transformation that we want, and that's why we are supporting him. He is one person who is always focused on getting things done, and I think that's why he's been mischaracterized by many. For example, he never said that the government does not have a message. He said that on the basis of the severe economic hardship that we're having, it is making it difficult to craft a message for the 2024 election. And what he said has proven to be prophetic and critical. The president himself has said the same, that the economy is struggling. As we speak now, even after the election of his flag bearer, the NPP has not been able to come up with any message that is tied to performance in government, except to try and take advantage of the low-hanging fruits of tribal and religious sentiments and all. But we are really determined that we are not going to let that pass. We are going to make sure that this coming election is about bread and butter issues. It's about the things that matter. It's about the sustenance of the Ghanaian society and its people. And that is what we are going to push through. And we are absolutely confident that on the basis of not just his vision, not just his competence, but his integrity that has ensured his action-oriented leadership everywhere he has been, with his effective execution and output, he's the best person that we can count on to lead this country into an age of transformation, which we all desire.
You are listening to Mansa Musa on here, NFM Radio. We are on Facebook and we are on YouTube. And those of you asking for the telephone number, 0208-123-5911 and 07876-251-261. We are here. Then we are on the Zoom link as well. If you have the link, just zoom in and you can listen in or you can join the conversation, no problem. When the time comes, I'll ask you to raise your hands. So, one thing about your program, your activity, or your boss, Alan Chermantin, who actually gave him that headline introduction of a drew so a drew me so. Others are saying this was, to say, use the street language, daft or naive. I mean, what exactly is a drew me so? I mean, it's my turn. That is not a good mantra to carry about.
I think that is much in the past, but for the benefit of the platform, I want to clarify. He did not say anywhere that it is his turn. It is party people who have seen him labor and sacrifice himself to build the party, who said that it is your turn. Drew was so. Also, it is for propaganda and mischief that you would have it turned upside down, for self-serving narrative that his opponents wanted to say. But the headline at every point in time was Drew also, and it was the people clamoring that it is your turn because we know what you can do. We know what you have done in the past. We've seen your sacrifices.
But Mr. Nobi, for all what it's worth, it hasn't worked that way. I mean, even if he didn't want it, he could have curtailed it straight away. Instead of making this stick into the minds of people thinking that, Nadia no Pachedu so saying, what do you say is my turn? You see what I mean? So in that respect, again, we the outsiders will think he's not strong enough, he is not strict enough, he couldn't, he's leaving his people to decide or think for him. And that is not a good leadership, attribute to have, is it?
No, he has his campaign laid out. But you see, you cannot fault people who were there in 92, who were there in 96, who were there in 2000, 2004, 2008, and I've seen him sacrifice all through. You cannot help but allow them to also express their sentiments, and they felt that on the basis of what he has stood for, what he has done for the party, it was his turn, from their perspective. And that one, you could not do much about it. But he had a very focused campaign, a campaign that was really focused on restoring the party to its ideals in order that the party can deliver the purpose and mandate for which it was set up. That was what he was about. As for, I can look at you right now and say something that I believe reflects you based on this, our interaction. And you have very little control over that, and that is the situation. I mean, you saw 2 mega works that were organized. None of it had his direct input. It was the followers who said that it is your turn and we are ready to mobilize the masses to work in your honor. So they had the Edu Osu Walk Part 1, which had over 400,000 people in attendance in Kumasi, and Edu Osu Walk Part 2, none of which had any budgetary support or any directly from him as a candidate. That is the amount of love and enthusiasm that people felt about him, and because of his person and what they know he can offer for the nation. And at the time for the party. So, but as I sit here today, it is very much belated. The focus now is the movement for change with our 4 thematic areas, which I've explored extensively. And we are focused to make sure that we're able to bring about the change that is necessary for a transformed Ghana. And that is what we're working towards. You would have seen the Yellow Army, when we met in Kumasi, and we've had 2 what we call volunteer activations.
What is the Yellow Army?
So the Yellow Army is the army of young people who have put themselves up to sacrifice and work hard to ensure that the movement for change becomes victorious.
Why yellow? Why not green or brown, orange or violet or anything, burgundy, anything? Why yellow?
Well, we are about transformation, which is typified in the monarch butterfly. So the particular butterfly that was is the monarch butterfly, which symbolizes transformation, which symbolizes stability, which symbolizes a certain level of finesse. It is the king of butterflies. So if you check the monarch butterfly, its color is mainly gold, hence the Yellow Army. But again, also for strategic political positioning from us at the comms end, you had to position your brand such that it is not similar to any known brand within the political space. So if you check, the NPP has says red, white, and blue. The NDC has says black, white, red, and green. So you needed a very differentiated or a brand that positions you differently from the existing or known brands within the political system. And so far, I think we have succeeded in doing that, because if you're about change, you don't want to look like anything that is existing. You don't want to look like the status quo, and that. And so far, we've had 2 events, one in Kumasi, one in Accra. We floated a link for interested persons to sign up to volunteer. So for your listeners and viewers, you can visit join.alanchematin.org and volunteer to be part of the movement. You can go to all our social media handles, alanchematin.org or Alan Chematin on Facebook, X, Instagram, and you find a link, volunteer. When you do, you receive a call from us to verify, and then you become part, and you can begin to mobilize and work. So we send them text messages saying that, okay, you volunteered to be part of the movement. On this date, we will be meeting at this venue, so come to be oriented and onboarded. And those are the crowds that you are seeing. Young people want change. Young people want our country better run. And for the first time, we are really ready and willing to work for that change to happen.
Sure. Those of you... Oh, sorry. Finish your point.
Oh, no, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Those of you who want to ask questions, if you want to come join in quickly and ask your question, raise your electronic hand. Then I will let you out, because we've had him for a while, and we will soon have to let him go. So if you want to come and ask, electronic hand and so our hand and so much yellow anyway. Let me ask you this. Let's go back to his strategy or lack of, and that is clearly some of us have seen that he has not been happy with, the proceedings, how things had turned out or had panned out within the administration. You can see clearly that he has not been happy. So the question is, why didn't he just come out well before these primaries to say, hey, most of my decisions, most of my contributions have not been adhered to, have not been listened to, the cabinet didn't listen to me or something, right? So now he stayed in loyally till the end. Even when he came out, he just resigned because he wanted to be, go for the primaries. That, has discredited him. If he had left earlier and come out to say that, look, what these people are about, I'm not in favor, so I've left, then he would have gained a lot of traction. What do you say to that?
Okay. I think a lot of people probably, for their lack of participation in the political space, misunderstand him. I was a member of the party as well. I was a member of his national communications team. And as a member of the national communication team, I did not deem it fit that I will criticize the party outside of the internal processes. Because when you belong to a group, if you're part of a group, it is only proper that you express your grievances within the group. Until you are, for example, I can be part of your management team. And if I feel that something is not going right, I should be able to express that within.
Yes. But if we don't listen to you, or we don't even value your advice or anything, you still don't remain loyal and now come out. So, okay, let's take for what you're taking for what it is. Now, what is he telling us? That he's part of the failure, or he isn't? And if he's part of it, then how do we trust that he can do better? And if he wants to say that nothing has failed, that means we don't need him as well. We need Baumia.
Well, I think first things first. He determined for strategic reasons at what time to exit. And when he felt that it was proper, the time was right to exit, he exited. Now, when he was with the party and with the government, I think every individual in the government should be able to account for their stewardship. And the Honorable Alanjo Chematin, for the Ministry of Trade and Industry that he handled, he has really given a good account of himself in terms of his capacity and what he's able to achieve.
Sure.
Off the top of my head, I can talk about the 294 one district, one factory projects that were initiated, 126 of which were complete as of December 2022 before he exited, creating 160,000 jobs, 24,000 of which are direct jobs. I can talk about the 37 business resource centers that are dotted across Ghana.
One second, Mr. Nobi. All this is nice to hear, but these are credits that Bawumia, Akufo-Addo, Kenneth-Ofori-Atta, they are going to claim. After all, let me remind you again, your boss came out to say we haven't got any message. We didn't have message. So if these messages were there, why did he say he didn't have message? And if it's true, that's what you are telling us. They claim the credit to go to Bawumia?
No, I think you are wrong on the assertion that he said the party did not have a message. It was in February this year at Seshi Yoso at Omahine's Palace, and he said that, and I quote him, that the present economic circumstances is making it difficult to carve a message for 2024. I think that does not in any way mean that we do not have a message. It is very well contextualized, and I think it is also something that we should give him credit for, because it is part of the requirement of a leader to be honest with himself and with his followers, and with his people. Now, put that aside, every single minister had a responsibility. Every member of the government had a direct responsibility. His was trade and industry. And he can give an account of his performance at the ministry, what he did and what he achieved. If Alhaji Bawumia, the vice president, wants to claim something, he had a direct responsibility as the leader of the economic management team. He should account for that, If the Honorable Kenneth-Ofori-Atta want to claim something, he had a direct responsibility of finance, and he should also account for his stewardship right there at finance, So as for the Honorable Landon Kojo Chematen, he can account for his stewardship and leadership of the Trade and Industry Ministry, and it is a record that we are proud of. It's a record that we are excited to talk about any day, any time. And when we were young, we used to go to Sakura Park to go and play ball. Sometimes the entire team may lose.
Where is that Sakura Park? I'm trying to remember. Where is it?
It was dotted in different communities.
I see. Sakura. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay. When in my day in the 70s, early to middle 70s, ours was at it is 11 horses. This cavalry, you call cavalry, where we have the horses. And also Nicholson Stadium. It's also Sakura Park, no grass, but a very famous field. You know what I mean? But
absolutely,
all right, go ahead.
And
yes, go ahead.
There are no fences, there are no walls between the park and the audience or the fans. So if at the end of the game the team loses, the fans could actually single out the player who they really believe performed well. And normally they will give him like a piggyback ride or Ombisina Gongong, to really cheer him on. At the same time, they look for particular players to beat them for their poor performance.
Sure.
On the field. Yes. And I think that applies here. If you look at this government, there's not a single minister who's been able to perform at the rate at which the Honorable Landon Kojo Chematen performed for the 6 years that he served as minister in this government. I always say that if all the other ministers were able to give off even up to 60-70% of what he did, the government will not be in the kind of mess we find ourselves in. And the only reason why he was effective was because he has integrity. He does not steal from public funds, and every single amount that came to him, he made sure it was put to use for the purpose for which it was secured. And that is why he was effective. Yeah.
Right. Madam Portia Danso, I can see you there. If you want to ask anything, come in and ask Madam Portia Danso, because I know you supported someone very, very popular indeed. The showdown man was your man. Portia. So if you are listening and you want to, I know you are there, you are listening. If you want to come and ask the Alan Chermantin representative some question, and any of you here, if you want to ask question, please raise your electronic hand and let's go. Right. This conversation, I will say, is a precursor to my own showdown I want to have with your boss. Would you say that, what will be your, how do I say it, your recommendation, that's a word. Would you say, Mansamuso had you to do menko? And I say, because whichever way, some people are saying, Mansamusa, somebody sent me some message ago. I've not do course or sending message with that. I will say, Mansamusa, you are being soft because you want the main man. Ask him serious questions. I don't know. I thought I've asked you serious questions, but the point is, what will you tell your governor? What will you say to him if I want him to come and talk to us in diaspora? It's also very important. A lot of people are listening all everywhere. If he's in London, I'll bring him to the studio, maybe to the television studio. But we can do a Zoom with him. Will you assure me that you can at least send a message to him and ask him to come and speak to Mansa
Absolutely. Our leader and founder, the Honorable Alan Martin, is excited to engage with every single stakeholder, like the diaspora community. It's a community that in all our meetings, he continues to mention that we need to be able to create the needed space for them to meaningfully participate in our governance. So I'm sure you'll be excited for you to interview him. He'll be excited to talk to the diaspora community as and when our calendar schedules can allow. What I can do from this program and this engagement is to tell them that, you know what, I think it's a credible platform. It's a critical platform. It's a platform that engages on the issues that matter. And so I would definitely recommend that we take it when the conversation.
Our engagement is being streamed on Facebook and YouTube, so you can pick one on your own WhatsApp. It's there. You pick it and he can watch and listen and everything. Let's go to the phone. 3010. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Mama Samusa.
Now, why you?
Yapoku of Kent.
Yapoku of Kent. Mr. Nobi, do you hear Yapoku?
It's quite distant.
Okay, hang on. I will see because I know the telephone issue. That's why usually I tell people to come to the Zoom. But I will try and do some magic and see if Yapoku Kasane has Obetia.
Masa Musa Makasa Watenga.
Papa ni Freno. Courage Nobi Nobi Chiano now also.
Mr. Courage Nobi, good evening.
Good evening, Wafa.
I want to ask you at least, I think, 2 or 3 questions.
I think think you want to tell him, he wants to hear from you saying that go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm able to take 3 questions.
You want to the budget. I want you to tell me that. Can I go ahead?
Okay, you ask your question quickly. Yeah.
Okay, Masa Musa. First of all, Mr. Nobi. First of all,
yes, sir.
Who elected you to that position that you are in now? Who elected you? The reason why I'm asking this question is I don't know why, especially Ghanaians, we always want to impose ourselves on X. We form a party. This is this. This is it. This is it. This is the president. This is the presidential candidate. This is the executive. This is the secretary. So who elected you to be in that position?
Secondly, okay, his position is that he's the acting director of communication.
Yeah.
Who gave him that? Okay.
Who gave him that?
Okay,
that
let him answer. Let him answer.
Yeah. Who gave him that position? Who gave that authority?
Okay, let him answer.
All right. Thank you very much. I think, like I explained earlier, the Movement for Change is a political organization founded and led by the Honorable Andrew Kwajoche Maten. He and his council of advisors decided that they needed to allocate or appoint people to responsible positions, and I happen to have been favored to occupy the position as acting director of communications. So that is what I can say.
Okay, next question quickly.
Next question also. Their so-called presidential candidate, the man has been a trade minister for, I think, if I may guess, I think 16 years or something like that. He has been in government for a long time. And then during his trade ministry or whatever position that the man was holding, what has Alan Chamatin done for Ghana? And then especially now that he's talking about the youth, what youth does he know? Because Alan has been the trade minister for a long time, or been in government for a long time. And then he has been parading all the European capitals and then Americans, selling the west of Ghana outside, and then not trying to do something better for Ghana. And he has plunged Ghana into so many difficulties.
Make it simple. Is it a question or accusation? It's a question that I'm trying to ask this man. So what has he done for Ghana as a trade minister? Okay. And now he's calling himself a presidential candidate. So what else does he want to offer Ghana? What else? What else again? After being in power, after being in a government for so long a time, what else does he have for Ghana again? What else? What else does Alan have for Ghana? What else?
All right. I think I'll answer this.
That's my question.
Yes. Cumulatively, the Honorable Andrew Kwajoche Maten has served as Minister for Trade and Industry for 11 years. You know, if you pick it from 2003 to 2008, and then from 2017 to 2022, when he resigned. In that period, his stellar performance in industry and trade is there for all to see. Specific to what has he done for young people, I think I've spoken a lot about what he's done in the area of creating jobs, but I've also spoken about the business resource centers that are dotted across the country, about 37 of them, supporting young people to be able to have their own enterprises and to grow them. Receive all the technical support to secure funding so that they can create jobs for their own colleagues and themselves. But put that aside, as a result of his industrial policies and performance, we have 6 vehicle brands that assemble vehicles here in Ghana today as we speak. It's not just that, but there's also a stream that is into component manufacturing. You know, so it's a very robust outcome, and I think, Master Musa, I'll be glad if we have another opportunity where we look specifically to what. Because I have a list of 126 factories, towns where they are located, the districts where they are located, what they produce, and how many people they have employed. All that data is available. So as for his,
let me ask you, since you are mentioning those. Is it factories that were built by state or public funds, or factory that the owners were given some benefits in order to acclaim the title of one district? What is it? Is it government-funded factories?
Well, I mean, to be consistent with our ideological position, we believe that the private sector is the engine of growth. So it is a private sector-led initiative, but public sector enabled. So that has been consistent. We support private sector to be able to create jobs, to create businesses, so that people can be absorbed in jobs to be able to live.
That's a laudable idea, but I just want the understanding. You use the word enable. How have you, or did you, or the government or Alan Chamanti enabled a private sector company or something to put up a fab. What is the enabling? What's the form of that enabling?
For example, there was heavy financing that was made available by the state through the commercial banks at a certain concessionary rate for businessmen to be able to have their factories. That is one. Two, there were a lot of things, what we call industrial villages and industrial parks, where because of the challenges with land tenure, large tracts of land were secured by the ministry, and all allied services and every utilities, everything provided, so that the investor can come in, secure a part of it, and he knows that he has land security for a certain given number of years to be able to put up his.
Please, can I call back in 10 minutes or?
Okay, call in 10 minutes. Yeah, go ahead.
But
I should call in 10 minutes. It's okay.
Musa,
Okay.
if I may, sorry. Earlier, I had arranged for a workshop for our communicators on the budget.
Yes.
You know, we
in fact, my last question was going to be on the budget. What do you make of the budget? Honestly, if you are short of time, or you are completely out of time. Tell us a little bit.
Master Musa, I've got a question for him.
I told you to raise your hand long ago. Okay, you ask your question.
I can't raise my hand.
You don't have electronic hand, or you don't know how to do it?
No, I don't.
Okay, fair enough. Ask him quickly because the guy got to go. It's been a while.
Right. Quick one. My brother, how are you?
Your name, so that in a formal way you can introduce yourselves, please.
Oh, so my name is Deg, Common Purpose Alliance. So sorry.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay.
All right.
The reason I asked that, you see, if people are listening on radio, so if you say he saw it, what about those who are not using Facebook and they are just listening on radio?
Sorry, my name is Common Purpose Alliance.
Fair enough. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. I've been listening to you and something caught my attention.
Okay.
You kept referring to, I think you seem to be very obsessed with the 1D, 1F, and you seem to be dwelling on it as Alan's success. Master Musa asks you a very, very critical question that are you not going to use the success of a government that he was part of as the pinnacle of your success for Alan Chamanti in the last 7 years? And surprisingly, the same man said that MPP will struggle to have a campaign message. So if he believed he was successful as trade minister, which you are trying to list some 200 factories that have been built and 120 during the time that he was a trade minister. This is something that was done under MPP's 1D, 1F policy. It was for the party, not for Alan Chamanti. He occupied a position on behalf, on trust for the government. And he was an appointee of the president. So whatever successes came out from that ministry, I would like to believe is for the MPP government. Is Alan Chamanti going to use the successes of the MPP government to launch his campaign as a presidential candidate? That's my question.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that even within a group, there is a place for the individual because it's individuals who make up a group. At the end of the day, up till 25th September, he was a member of the party from its inception and was an active member of the government until January 5th, 2023. During that period, which is a material period within his own place as a participant in public service, there are specific things that he has done as a part or as a member of the group, and he has every right to take the credit for it. At the end of the day, the question is, had it been a different minister, since he resigned, there's been a minister there, what really has happened? Even in Parliament today, the only figures the minister could speak to, the finance minister could speak to, are the figures as at 5th January 2023. And that is what we are talking about. So yes, he was a part of the group, but as an individual part of the group, this is what he was able to do. And I think it is proper for him to take credit for it, especially when we try to bundle him up and say that, oh, the government has failed, so he has also failed. If he can take blame for the collective outcome, then I believe that he can also take the credit where he, as an individual, was able to achieve successes, irrespective of the general outcome of the government.
All right. Listen, thank you very much. A quick mention about the budget. What do you make of it? Not you personally, but as a group.
Yes, I think we followed keenly, and I mean, because of our nature of wanting to have very meaningful and constructive engagement, particularly on matters of policy, we've put together a workshop this evening. It was supposed to start at 9:30, so that all our people, our communicators and all, we are bringing a team of experts in finance to really properly be able to digest it so that we can make informed positions on it from tomorrow onward. So in the coming days, trust that we would issue a formal position on it. But for now, I think it's hasty to make any comment on it. It may not be informed, and I want to stay on that.
Brilliant. Listen, I will let you go and carry on with your other schedule. Hopefully, look, I'll speak to you behind closed doors and further arrangement as and when possible. We'll take it from there. Mr. Courage Nobi, thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musa. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to further engagements. And thank you all for who were able to join us, both via radio and video and all. It's been great having you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Sydney Discotheque, verano del 79, con la mejor música del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo, del mundo.
Oye, oye.
Right, my Zoom pad is gone dark. The battery is low. I've started charging it, but it's still showing black. What a shame. I know you guys are still there, but I can't see you. I don't know if you guys can see me. Can any of you see me? Those of you on the Zoom, can you see me? Right, so Bia will be can out me beka Kwabena Eric Kofi Yao Solomon is what Donald Clay and all of you. I hope I can be Bia quickly before I close out. So I'm waiting for your comments. Maybe tomorrow I will continue with the disabled people. These disabled people, unfortunately, will be kind of Bonnie. The what minister? What's his name? Euphoria Mwakwanta. Yes, the Rose minister just woke up one day to say that a suggestion that has not been ratified by Parliament Straight away, he carried it out and told the people to close the toll booth. Leaving hundreds or is it thousands of people unemployed in a single day. That was a poor show, but that's what happened. And today, some of them, out of desperation, gathered at the roads ministry premises, obviously unauthorized demonstration or picketing, and they were arrested. Very shameful. Abasono, if you want to say something, please. Hello, I'm listening. Tell me something if you want to say, because I'm going to close very soon.
Where are your NDC gate crashes?
Hello, YK.
Yeah, where are your NDC gate crashes?
Hey, by force.
Your NDC gate crashes.
Is it where the local balance? Hey, by force, pa. It's almost your baby. Almost. What mean you almost home?
I'll tell you about tsunami Kasape. No, I'm afraid.
No, but if you have something to say about what we discussed.
The minute I start talking about Mahama, they will call in right now.
Well, you don't have to talk about Mahama. We are talking about Lanchamanti. We are talking about the budget. You don't have to bring Mahama.
Obviously, Mahama can be president from 2025, so you can't leave him out when you're talking about
the topic at stake is what we have to discuss. You can't just say, just because you want to mention Mahama, bring Mahama. He hasn't drawn up any budget. No, he hasn't borrowed and borrowed. He hasn't done that. So why bring him here?
It's not about... Look, do you know what? I didn't even listen to the budget. I didn't. And seriously,
You mean you didn't listen to the budget?
No, I haven't.
Well, fair enough. Maybe you are busy. So it's not out of snobbery. Just I didn't have time, my boy.
Well, even if I had time, I wouldn't have listened to it.
So you are going to find time to read then?
I'll probably read excerpts here and there.
So, you see, when you come to you view it like this. How do you come and debate anything if you are not going to be thorough with what is presented, whether you like it or not?
Well, the thing is, I will not read a budget from a man I don't believe he should be there now.
Nobody does, apart from maybe his cousin. Nobody does, but he's still there.
Yeah, but nothing he says is good for me. I don't care what he's saying. Nothing he says is good for me.
Well, if you treat official engagement like this, then you might as well not live or take part in anything. Because whether you like him or not, or you like his presence or not, whatever he has presented is going to affect your people and my people.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's already affecting them. What difference is it going to make? You don't understand me. I'm saying that.
I really don't. Try, come again, as they say.
Okay. Can you be quiet and listen then?
I got you 2 minutes. My break.
Good. I'm saying that it will be a waste of my time to listen to something that I know definitely I'm not going to find anything good in there. I know the problems already. I don't need to listen or read or sit down and analyze what's...
he said we've turned the corner, innit?
No, we haven't. We haven't. We are just surviving.
So are you saying you are in the same camp as Atu Forsen?
No, I'm not in the same camp as Atu.
So where are you? Because Atu Forsen doesn't believe we have turned any corner. So if you are not there and you are not with the finance minister, where are you standing?
I'm standing for Ghana. Atu Forsen doesn't stand for Ghana. He stands for...
Listen, my bread, Yampong.
Thank you.
Either Friday, I will get another guru to come and speak about something else. But thank you all very much for your coming and for your time. Hopefully tomorrow we'll do it all over again. Have a good evening. Good night, all of you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night. Bye.
NFM Radio.
Make sure I'm a